Hi, Campus Killings listeners. I want you to check out a brand new podcast that I think that you'll really enjoy from this network, AbJack Entertainment. It's called Killer Communications, and it's hosted by Mike Morford. In each episode, Mike walks you through true crime cases that involve some element of communication from the potential perp, whether it's a taunting email sent to police, a mysterious text to a victim or their family, or a threatening letter in the mailbox of a newspaper. Mike unwraps these cases and how these sinister communications played a role in the case. You would probably think that the bad guys in these cases would want to keep their distance and not provide any extra clues that might lead them to being identified, but you'd be surprised at just how often it happens. I'm about to play you a portion of Episode 1 of Killer Communications, the case of Dale Williams, who vanished from Nucla, Colorado in 1999 after receiving a mysterious phone call. For decades, his case went unsolved before an arrest was finally made recently. After listening, go over and listen to the complete Dale Williams episode to see how the case kicked off and how it was solved. It's available now wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes of Killer Communications publish every other Saturday. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
Chapter 2. Where did Dale go? The caller at Dale's shop had indicated that he had broken down in the town of Bedrock, about 26 miles from Nucla. On his way to Bedrock, Dale stopped at a gas station owned by his neighbor and good friend, Tammy Lawrence, where he gassed up and let her know that he was on his way to help a stranded person, and that he wouldn't be able to fix her car's windshield. In hindsight, Tammy felt this was odd, and Dale would normally just call her on the phone about something so small. Tammy got the feeling Dale was uneasy about something, and maybe he wanted her husband to go along with him. But he wasn't home, so Dale left Tammy's gas station and was never seen again. Chapter 3. Missing Persons Report. By 9 p.m. on the night of the 27th, Dale hadn't returned home. While his wife Diana wasn't really worried at this point, because it was normal for Dale to be working late on projects, she did find it a little strange that he wasn't answering the shop's phone. Just a reminder, this was 1999, and according to Dale's daughter Toni, her family only had one cell phone they used if they were traveling, so Dale didn't have a cell phone with him. Diana figured Dale was just busy with his work, and although she was a little uneasy as she went to sleep that night, she felt confident that in the morning, she'd wake up with Dale next to her. But the next morning when Dale wasn't there, Diana couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Very wrong. She called Dale's mother, who lived a few blocks away, and the two women went over to the shop to see if Dale had fallen asleep at work. But what they found there raised all of the alarm bells. The shop doors were wide open. The hood of a car Dale had been working on was still propped upright, and his tools were scattered around like he had left them in the middle of his project. The scene looked like he had literally just walked away for a few minutes with intentions to return. The only thing missing was the shop truck and Dale's toolbox. Both women thought maybe Dale had gotten so into her project that he'd gone to one of the local junkyards to pick up some parts. But when they visited the junkyards that Dale frequented, no one had seen him. Beginning to panic, and at a loss for what to do next, Diana called the local police to file a missing persons report.
O'Fallon Police Department, is this an emergency?
Chapter 4. The search begins. Police called in the Colorado Bureau of Investigations, or CBI, and the Montrose County Sheriff's Department to help investigate. The Williams family also organized citizen searches of the area to see if they could find Dale. According to Dale's brother Dick, over 100 people came out to help search in those first few days. But aside from finding some tools on the side of the highway near the town of Bedrock, searches turned up nothing. Police had a few eyewitness accounts that stated they'd seen Dale's truck on the side of the highway with another vehicle on the afternoon of May 27th, but no one could identify the driver of the other car. There were no surveillance cameras in the Bedrock area, and though police were able to determine that the caller had contacted Dale's shop from a stolen cell phone, they were unable to trace it to a legitimate person. Dale's daughter Toni has strong beliefs that the caller couldn't have been in Bedrock when they made the call, as the town sits in a deep valley between large mountain ranges, and even today, cell phone reception there is incredibly spotty. In 1999, it would have been near impossible to have made a cell phone call from that area. With very little evidence to go on, police speculated that perhaps Dale had interrupted some criminal activity, like a drug exchange, and become the victim of a larger crime, or perhaps someone had a nefarious purpose for the phone call. But why would anyone want to lure Dale Williams to a secluded location with the intention of harming him? By all accounts, he was a respected and deeply admired member of the community. But there was one person who didn't admire Dale. A man who remains unnamed for reasons of privacy and was a friend of Dale's turned out to be extremely abusive towards his wife and son. Dale and Diana had been friends with this family, but when the wife told them she was trying to get a divorce and afraid for her safety, Dale and Diana helped her and her son escape to a safe location while the husband was out of town. The husband was extremely angry when he came home to find his wife and son gone, and he knew that only Dale and Diana could have done something since no one else knew about this abuse. But when he confronted Dale and Diana, they claimed they didn't know anything about where the man's family might have gone. Chapter 5. Break-ins, vandalism, and a possible suspect. About a year after they'd helped their ex-friend's wife and son escape, Dale came to his shop one morning to find it had been broken into. His .22 caliber handgun was missing, and the bullets had been scattered all over the garage. There were also several photos of Dale, Diana, and this estranged couple from their happier times together that had been ripped up and left by the garage door. Then, a few months after this break-in, Diana found Dale's missing gun in the movie return drop box at their video store. While it was never proven that Dale's ex-friend was the vandal or the thief of his gun, Dale's family always felt that it was him. As far as Dale's daughter Toni knows, her father never called the police about these issues or brought charges against his ex-friend. Her feelings are that her dad wasn't the kind of person who called the police on his friends, and may not have felt the issue was serious enough to warrant calling them without definitive proof. What is very interesting is that during the community search for Dale, the police department provided hundreds of missing persons posters with Dale's information and photo on them that were to be hung around the surrounding areas. One of these places was at the Nucla post office, and Diana noticed that the poster she hung in the post office waiting room had been ripped from the board and thrown away. She replaced the poster, and came the next day only to find that that poster too had been ripped down. This went on for several days, and Diana felt that it was no mistake. Someone was deliberately removing Dale's flyers from this prominent location. Diana was proactive. She asked the post office if they could install a camera in the waiting room to see if they could catch the perpetrator, and they agreed to do that. Within just a few days, footage from this camera captured Dale's ex-friend clearly ripping the flyer down and crumpling it up before tossing it in the garbage can. Why would he do this? Did he not want Dale to be found? Or was he just an angry man who hadn't let go of his grudge against his ex-friend? Diana took this information to the police, and they did question this man about Dale's disappearance. He did seem to be a viable person of interest. Unfortunately, he had a solid alibi in another location on the day Dale disappeared, and he also agreed to take 2 polygraph tests, which he passed, and he was quickly ruled out as a suspect. Chapter 6. Dale's truck is found. Investigators trying to solve Dale's case didn't have much until the weekend of July 4th, 1999. Just outside of Nucla at a swimming hole down a dirt road, a local teenager named Levi was fishing with his brother. Levi's lure got hung up on something out in the water, and he decided to swim out to retrieve it. The lure was caught on the window of a submerged truck. As Levi swam around the vehicle, he wondered if it could belong to Dale Williams, and he was able to pull the dash cover off the truck's upper windshield and bring it to the surface for a better investigation. And sure enough, when he read the words, Williams Auto Body Garage, he knew the truck was Dale's. Levi immediately contacted the police and the Williams family, and a team was sent to the swimming hole to investigate this first piece of evidence. The truck was in 10 feet of water and stuck in about 3 feet of soft silt, so it required a huge backhoe to remove it from the water. This did quite a bit of damage to the vehicle, and Toni would later say that because the windows of the truck were open, some items from the truck's interior escaped downstream, and investigators never bothered to retrieve those things. Whether or not this would have been useful evidence will never be known. Dale's body was not in the truck, so he remained missing. At first, police wondered if perhaps Dale had gone off the road and into the water as a result of an accident, but when they searched the area, it became clear that it was no accident, that the truck was placed into that body of water on purpose. Police were able to determine that the truck had been running when it went into the water, and that it had gone in at a very low rate of speed. It was believed that the truck was literally walked into the lake by someone walking beside it and steering it into the water via the open window. In later interviews, Tony would explain that this swimming hole was not well known to anyone outside of the local community, and it wasn't visible from the road. So if someone had stolen her father's truck, they would have had to know the area to know that the swimming hole was there. One thing notably missing from the truck was the large toolbox Dale had in the back bed. It had been removed, and due to the water, it made taking fingerprints or doing other preliminary forensics extremely difficult. The investigation once again stalled.